9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, bottom dog.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal. And 1D throttle down.
That throttle down call is because they are getting ready to the most aerodynamic stressful part of this flight. So they take the power down just slightly.
And there is the 1,000 kilometers per hour mark. That's 621 miles per hour.
And 1D throttle up.
They're throttling up. There's max Q, the max aerodynamic pressure peak, the most mechanical stress on the rocket. As I look up and we can still see the orange glow, and I tell you what, it took 5 seconds for the vibration and sound from that liftoff to affect us here. You can still see it just screaming almost straight up, even though they're pointing a little bit downrange now.
Started on back engine chill.
Approaching rapidly 3,000 kilometers per hour. That is 1,864 miles per hour.
And Chris, while you see that plume coming out of the back expanding, that's because there's not as much atmospheric pressure on it. So that's why it expands out like that. And we are getting, that first stage engine is going to fire for about another 20 seconds, 23 seconds or so.
And Christian, that is really a step that we want to pay attention to, that separation of the first stage that will then return back to Earth.
Yeah, we're going to get very busy here in about 5 seconds. You're going to see MECO, the main engine cut off, and then you're going to see the separation. And we're standing by for that.
MECO.
Falcon stage separation confirmed.
So the main shut down, and you see separation there too. That is the first stage falling away. So you're seeing in the first stage, you can see those grid fins that you mentioned, Chris Jacobs, that will help guide it. But at 8:45, so plus 8:45, coming up in about 2 minutes, you'll see 3 of those 9 engines fire to slow it down. The first stage doesn't have any of that protection when it comes back into the atmosphere. So the way they overcome that is by firing the engines and slowing it down enough that when it re-enters the atmosphere, it won't burn up. And it'll be a 34-second burn of that entry stage of those 3 engines to bring us in. And seeing some of these pictures of Doug and Bob in the capsule is just remarkable. We haven't seen a lot of American astronauts live.
And just to clarify, that picture on the left is the Stage 2 rocket propelling the Crew Dragon capsule. The picture on the right is actually the Stage 1 Falcon 9 rocket returning to Earth. So those are actually moving in opposite directions as we pass the 15,000 kilometers per hour mark, which is approaching 9,400 miles per hour.
You know, Chris, SpaceX would love to get this booster back. And as we mentioned earlier, they learn a lot when they get these rockets back and take a look at them, but it is secondary. That's the picture on your left. The second stage, as Massimino said, that's what you want to burn. You want that burn to go exactly as it should on the right trajectory. This was an instantaneous launch. They had to go at the right time. There's your start of your entry burn on the right. You're seeing it.
Stage 2 FTS is good.
Yeah, this slows it down. This is going for about 35 seconds, as I mentioned, just to slow it down. And if you watch those grid fins, you can start to see them kind of move. And that's what keeps this, as we heard earlier in one of the pieces, you know, landing a pencil. That's what keeps it north and south or up and down as it's coming down back into land. And it is landing on a drone ship in the Atlantic. So that burn is over. The next thing we're going to see at 9:27. Everything's good, they say. Those are the reports from Mission Control. So coming up in about a minute, we'll see the final burn. And as Davenport has told us before, you don't always get to see the landing because you got a camera that's getting shaken, and this is a rocket actually that's coming back to. There, you lost the picture. That's kind of what happens.
And there's the 25,000 kilometers per hour, which is 15,534 miles per hour. So again, continuing to accelerate as they make their way to orbit.
And back throttle set. And back shut down.
There's the second stage engine cutoff right there.
That's good news, Chris. That means that they've got their. There they go. That's great news. And that's even better news. So they're in the orbit they're supposed to be in. They have just de-armed the escape system. They are where they're supposed to be at the right time. And in a couple of minutes, we'll see separation of the Dragon and loss of that second stage. That's really good news. And Chris, you asked a little bit about the atmosphere down here. There were some people here, even though they didn't open the gates, who were applauding as that Falcon 9 took off and really rattled our chests.
And it looks like Falcon 9 has returned successfully to that drone ship. Just amazing, amazing technology that quickly, in under 10 minutes, that Falcon 9 rocket has propelled Doug and Bob into orbit and has returned safely to its drone trip. I mean, hats off to SpaceX for developing that technology. Truly incredible.
This is Josh Gates.